Hello, my name is Kobe Pollock, and I am a life coach, mindset and wellness coach, neurolinguistic programming facilitator, hypnosis practitioner, and breathwork facilitator as well. Oh, and a registered nurse, a mum, and a farm mum too. Now, if you haven't come across me before, welcome. And if you have, it's great to see you. I have created this little training today as a spur of the moment thing. So I was working with a client earlier this morning, and I'd actually created a little bit of a framework and a guideline for people about goal setting for 2026 that I did as a Facebook Live in my private Facebook group. Now, for some reason, it didn't record. And then as I jumped on this client call, our conversation just automatically led to that. She actually brought up something around goal setting. And so I was like, hang on a second. The universe has sent this my way. And I've just gone through my framework and recorded something about this. And so I shared it with her and it totally resonated. She's working with it. She's moving forwards and feels really great. And so I decided, okay, I need to share this in a bigger way. So what I decided to do was jump on here and I'm going to record a little training session. I'm going to upload it to Facebook. I might actually share this on my podcast as well. So if you're listening to my podcast, this might be it. And see where it goes. See who sees this, learns about it, and who is able to move forwards with this using this framework, because it's a specific framework that I have used to set goals and to move forwards in my life. Now, it's not about the forcing the goals and task orientated and all that sort of stuff. It's my slow living and out of her mind way of setting goals for the new year. We've only got 59 days left of this year. Today is the 3rd of November, 2025, and there's 59 days left of 2025. So I've been thinking about my own goals, and this is what I've used to move forwards into that. And so now I want to share that with you. So it's a very impromptu training that I'm sure will give so much value to so many people. And please, if this resonates with you, share it with someone else that may help as well. So I guess I can start by sharing a little bit about myself. So like I said, I'm all of these things. And right now, my life is so phenomenal and so amazing. And I get to work helping women to live their best life every single day. My life has not always been like this. So I did struggle with mental health issues for most of my life. And then back in 2022, I was working as a pediatric nurse. I had young kids. I had a husband that worked away during the week, was back during the week. Yeah, away during the week, back on the weekend. And we had the house, had the job, had the dogs, went away on holidays, and everything looked really great from the outside. Yet inside, I was slowly burning myself to a crisp. I was going, doing, and giving to everyone else and not giving back to myself. I'd started using coping mechanisms like eating to numb my emotions, drinking wine when I would come home to numb my emotions. I'd be hanging out for 5 p.m. when I could walk out that door, get a bottle of wine on the way home, and then sit down and not have to think about how I was feeling. Ultimately, it led to me fully burning out to the point where I couldn't work for 5 months. I was suicidal, I was having panic attacks, and I was diagnosed with compassion fatigue, vicarious trauma, and PTSD. So during that time, I needed to work on myself. I either wasn't going to be here for my kids or I had to do something drastic to change the situation. I was really grateful, and the universe works in amazing ways, that I came across a life coach on social media. I think it was on Instagram. I saw her story and a lot of her story resonated for me. She was a nurse that had burnt out, had used alcohol and food to cope, and she had changed her life. And I saw in her a little sliver of hope the thought popped into my mind that things could be different, that maybe feeling this shit constantly and beating myself up over things and running myself to the ground, maybe things can be different. And this isn't just the way that you live as a mum, as a nurse, as a burnt out woman. So I started working with her. And within 3 weeks of working with her, we actually had put an offer on our now dream farm house and land that I never thought was possible. And that was because I'd started to rewire the patterns in my mind. Those stories I'd been telling myself for years, that I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I can't do things. And it started to change to, what if I could do things? What if life could be different? And then it changed step by step. And so one of the biggest things that I realized back then is that I didn't need to be doing more, because I was always going, doing. Full calendars, lists, tasks, all of those things. And I thought that if I kept doing more, I'll reach a point where I'd be calm, where I'd be happy. So that didn't work. And I started to realize that when I actually slowed down and started doing less, that's when I came home to myself. That's when I started listening to myself and realizing what it is that I need and putting myself first for once. Now, the slowing down wasn't about giving up. It wasn't about not achieving things anymore. I've achieved more in the last 3 years than I probably have in my whole life. I've started a successful business that I now do full time. I work casually on the weekend, not on the weekends, but whenever, casually nursing. I am able to drop my kids off and pick my kids up from school to go to sports days. Last week, I helped out in Jude, who is in grade 3's class, and we just did some baking and cooked a cake in the air fryer. We made butter out of cream. And it was such a core memory. And I'm so grateful that I get to do these things now. So it hasn't meant giving up my drive to achieve things. It has meant that I'm now aligned with what matters to me, to what is true. And so I've created this acronym, you know, one of those corny things where you have all those different words, and it's my slow living philosophy. So I want to share this with you first, and then I want to give you some tips and tools to actually set some goals for the new year, and though do it without the hustle, without the push. This has got slow living in mind. So the slow living is really leaning into the feminine energy as well. I love energy and being able to recognize where our energy is going, where our energy might be leaking, where we can actually use energy to support ourselves more. And there's 2 different ways. So there's feminine and masculine energy. Now, the feminine energy is all about the soft, the flow. It's like the river, and there's a stone in the middle of the river, or a big rock, and the river just keeps flowing around it. It doesn't fight it. It just keeps flowing. That is what feminine energy is like. It's that softness. The masculine energy is the doing. It's the task-orientated stuff. It's the routine, continuous stuff, going. And I recognized that in the past, I was coming from a very masculine framework. And I needed to lean into the feminine, even down to the point where I didn't like flowers because flowers were girly. Pink was girly. And so I very much pushed away from that growing up. Now I lean into that. I love flowers. I love pink. And it really helps me to bring in that softness into my life. The flow, the whatever will happen, and that intuitive knowing and trusting in the universe that everything will be okay. So what does SLOW stand for? So S stands for simplify. It's about not just simplifying the things you're doing, It's about simplifying the energy, letting go of the expectations, the commitments that you have, the things that drain you, giving you space within your mind, within your energy, within your home and your life to actually allow clarity to come through and know what it is that you want. Then L is for listen. So slow living invites us to listen to our bodies, our intuition, and our truth. And our body knows before our mind catches up. You know how if you see a snake, which is very relevant because we had a brown snake yesterday afternoon here in the backyard, a big one apparently, I didn't see it. You know how if you see a snake, you automatically respond. Well, I do anyway. Or something you're scared of, you automatically respond. Your body knows before your mind knows. It's about listening to your body first. When we start tuning in instead of pushing through everything, our whole life changes. We can soften and we can listen. O is about opening up. Opening your heart to the present moment, to the beauty and the small things in your life. A child's laugh, your morning coffee, the way the light hits your skin or feels on your skin, the sun. This is where peace lives. You can be open to possibilities, to different options, thinking outside of the box. Sometimes we get so stuck in our ways. No, I can only do it one way. What if things could be different? How could you do things differently? It's about asking yourself those different questions. And wonder. I love wonder, seeing wonder in the small mundane things. Remembering that we have such a magical life, the fact that we are alive and are who we are is just a miracle. So how can you see the world with fresh eyes again? The small things like the breeze blowing through the trees, a butterfly or a bird flying past, and then see that with gratitude as well. So that's my slow living philosophy. Simplify, listen, open, and wonder. I really encourage you to write these down and pop them up around your house to remind yourself. Maybe put it on your mobile phone to remind yourself as well. When you start bringing in slow living into your life, you really bring in a calm and clarity around what it is that you want and how to move forwards without that pushing, without that force. All right, so let's go into goal setting, the slow living and out of her mind way. So what is out of her mind? I don't think I've really spoken into that. So out of her mind is another movement that I've created, and it started with an event that I ran. And it's basically about getting out of your mind and into your body. All of our worries, all of our reasons and excuses, all of those stories we tell ourselves about why we can't do things live in our mind. When we can get out of our mind and into our body and into the present moment, like we do in slow living, then everything opens up for us. The past, the future, all of our worries disappear, and we can just be present in this moment. So this goal setting is not about hustling. It's not about being task orientated. It's about moving with intention. And I want to give you 3 simple ways that you can start to do this, because this is going to be really powerful in you being able to move forwards into 2026 with clarity, with confidence, and knowing exactly how you're going to achieve those goals that you want. Okay, so the first step in goal setting, the slow living and out of her mind way, is to get clear on how you want to feel in 2026. Not just what you want to achieve, not those things you want to have, those things you want to be doing. It's about how you actually want to feel. Do you want to feel grounded, creative, free? Once you know that feeling, you can then set the goals to support that energy, rather than just adding things to your to-do list. So I want you to write that down now. What do I want life to feel like in 2026? And we're going to do a little bit of a guided meditation just at the end of this, very short, just to really lean into this energy a bit more so that you can work out what it is that you want to feel. So the next step is to make it personal, not performative. So your goals don't need to make sense to anyone else. And I want to ask you, who are your goals for? Are they what society say you should be doing? Are they what your family say you should be doing? Or friends? Your partner? Your goals don't need to be big, bold, Instagram worthy. They just need to be true to you. Otherwise, you're not going to continue along that path of achieving those goals because they're not actually authentic to you. Maybe your goal is to rest more, to reconnect with your body, or to bring more joy into your home. What are those personal goals that you really want, and how do you want to feel? And then number 3 is about breaking it down into inspired steps. So big goals can feel quite overwhelming. And when we start to get in our head, then we can get stuck. We can go into fight, flight, or freeze mode. My go-to is always freeze. It's just nah, I can't do this. So when you break it right down and choose one thing that you can do this week to move towards your goal of how you want to feel, then that starts to create action. It starts to create momentum. That momentum builds confidence within you. And I want you to remember that there is no failure, there's only feedback. So if you start doing something and moving forward, taking those small steps and it doesn't work, you haven't failed. You're learning and growing from it. So go back to the drawing board, work out how you want to feel, maybe break down those steps even further. So I just did this with my client, and she sort of got stuck on the taking that small step. Still didn't feel right. So I said, right, break it down even more. And her example was she wants to start walking more. However, she's having some issues with dizziness. So she wants to go for a walk at the park. I said, all right, break it down even more. Break it down even more. What she's going to do, I said, can you go for a walk as soon as we get off this call? Walk down 2 houses, turn around and come back. That's all you need to do. You see, when we can actually achieve these small goals, no matter how small they are, our unconscious mind can see evidence that we can achieve them. And then it's about stretching ourselves just that little bit, like a rubber band. Take it a little bit further. Take it a little bit further. Always come back to the goal of how you want to feel. Not that focused, full, what's the word I'm looking for? I've totally lost it. Yeah, not that focused, like pressure-based goal setting that I know I used to always do a lot of the time. So let me go through that again. So you've got step 1 is to get clear on how you want to feel. So write down, what do I want to feel like in 2026? Do a little bit of a journal on this. Step 2 is to make your goals personal, not performative. Make them just for you. Make sure they're not other people's goals of what things should look like or how things should be. This is just personal for you. And then number 3, what is one thing you can do this week to step towards that goal? Beautiful. And I'd love for you to share your goals. This will be a YouTube video and a podcast, so you can comment below. Let me know, what do you want to feel in 2026? What's that first step that you're taking towards that? And I want to invite you to go deeper. If you'd like more support and more help with moving past what it is that's been stopping you from achieving your goals, and to learn tools and ways to step forwards into really making them happen and stepping into 2026 with clarity and confidence around your goals and having a surefire plan in place to achieve them with those tools that support you, I want you to reach out to me. I've opened up only three private coaching spaces for a 6-week package. Starts on the 18th of November. And we're going to get super focused on what you can do to feel great in 2026, to achieve those goals that you want, to work out what they even are, and then to work out what's stopping you from achieving them, to get rid of that, and then start stepping into 2026. This is going to be so transformational and so powerful for the women that come along. And I am only accepting people who are really committed to growth. Okay. So send me a message. Let's chat about it. Let's work out whether it's right for you or not. I would love to know what you think about my slow living philosophy, about my goal setting tasks, the ways that you can move forwards, and how you can make it really intentional for you. So please reach out. Please subscribe if you're listening to my podcast or watching this on YouTube. And check out my website or social media, Facebook or Instagram, if you want to learn more about me and what I actually do as well. I can't wait to get these women started in this 6-week program as they step into 2026. And I'd love to hear about what your goals are moving forwards as well. Thanks for listening. And if you have any other questions about this, just send me a message as well. Have a great day. Mwah.